the foundation or the basis of African spirituality is the African calendar. Once you understand the African calendar, you also understand the African creation story. You are then able to then connect back to in nature, in Vel.
Please, can you break down the African calendar for us? I'm so glad you brought that up. Yes.
Okay.
We've been waiting for you.
Yes. The African calendar is very important for us. This is the calendar that we used before we were colonized, by these Westerners. All along, we've been using a calendar that is based on the Northern Hemisphere. Activities after Christmas and Easter, you are then assisting amadlozi abelungu. You are giving them strength and power to continue, and dominate us. And when it comes to remember, Guti, there's the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere. Okay. We are on the Southern Hemisphere. Yes. We're not supposed to be using a calendar that is based on the Northern Hemisphere.
The climate and the seasons are different.
They are different. When it's summer here, it is winter that side. So, now when we took all over the continent, there's no country that is aligned with the energy flow of the continent, because all these presidents have been adopted, a Western, calendar and imposed it upon the majority of African people. That is why Sloko sithandaza sithi uNkulunkulu akasizwa umveli nqangi kanti siguqa ngesikhathi esi-wrong when we're supposed to kneel here on the Southern Hemisphere, like in New Year yet. In New Year yet, it's on the 23rd of September. What does it mean? In terms of science, that is the day of the spring equinox. Meaning, that is when the earth energies reach equilibrium. Yingakho is the equinox. Meaning, day and night are equal on that day. So that from that day, uqala ilentuza is spring on the Southern Hemisphere. So we're getting more light and less, night. Okwamanje dominate the night. Why? Because the sun is in the Northern Hemisphere. It will come back on the Southern Hemisphere. That journey, figure on the 21st of September, the sun officially leaves the Northern Hemisphere, and it takes 3 days for the sun to transit, through the line of the equator, the imaginary line of the equator. So the 21st, the 22nd, 23rd, it makes 1 degree southwards, which then signifies a new cycle for the Southern Hemisphere. So a calendar lentuza that we reintroduced, it is based on inzalo yelanga, because inzalo yelanga marks the solstices and the equinoxes.
So then if we had to follow the African calendar, what would that look like? And
if we are, following the African calendar, we are in the season of the principle called Set. Set is that a principle that governs, but in entropy. Entropy, it means a contained energy, gets released. Do you understand? If let's say, as an example, a manzi that flows from a waterfall, right? That is an energy that is not contained. It's free. It's just, evenly distributed. But then when you put a turbine somewhere down there, we are able to enhance that energy to create electricity, from that flowing water. So we are in that season city, ngesizulu, isikhathi sikambhidlizi, uset umbhidlizi, meaning ukuthi is the principle of chaos. That is why you witness so much chaos, even, in our country. What is so painful? Uset uza nezifo, July.
Okay.
Uset uza nezifo. Batubula abantu le Eastern Cape, batubula abantu le and bangena kuma tavern. batubula abantu la Orlando. 13 people were dead is all. I believe Nasekatlehong. Last year, who said when it was this season, there was this looting that was happening. Meaning, it is the release of a contained energy. It then becomes free. But then the next season, Gamma Art, that is when it is contained and enhanced again. Because Art is the principle of order. Which then says, Guti, you can never have order without disorder. Do you understand? Chaos gives birth to order. Yingakho-ke, that is represented ebukhosini. Ebukhosini, inkosi represents order. Yingakho inkosi meyigcotshwa kumele iyobikela okhokho bakhe ukuthi order has been restored. Sengihlile.
The stolen clock. How abandoning the African calendar decentered the African continent. The January illusion. Every January 1st, millions of Africans join the world in celebrating the new year. We light fireworks in the heat of summer and make resolutions in the middle of harvest cycle. But from a Pan-Africanist perspective, January 1st is an arbitrary colonial imposition, a day that marks nothing in our soil, our stars, or our spirits. By abandoning our indigenous calendar, right? By abandoning our indigenous calendars, we did not just change our dates, we surrendered our rhythm. We swept a cyclical connection to the earth for a linear march toward Western productivity. Today, we explore the deep negative impact of living on a borrowed time. The colonization of time, reclaiming the African rhythm, the agricultural disconnect, planting in the dark. The most practical tragedy of abandoning our calendar is the loss of agricultural synchronization. The spring new year. In Southern African traditions, the year truly begins with Umandulo, September. This is when the earth reawakens. The Pleiades, Islimela, appear and the first rains fall. It is a time of planting, not just parting. The mismatch. By following the Gregorian calendar, our national holidays and planning cycles are divorced from the land. We treat January, the height of our summer and the critical wedding and growth period, as a fresh start after a long holiday, forcing an European winter resting rhythm onto the African summer waking reality. The result, we have lost the communal knowledge of the lunar month, which once told us exactly when to till, when to sow, and when to harvest. This has contributed to food insecurity and the decline of indigenous farming techniques. We have lost all of those. The spiritual disconnect. There's also a phenomena of a spiritual disconnect. Okay? In Western thought, time is a straight line. It's a commodity to be spent or saved. In African thought, time is a cyclical and event-based. Ancestral communication. Our ancestors spoke through the seasons. Festivals like Nwala or the New Yam festivals were not just parties. They were spiritual audits of the community's harmony with nature. The wait period. Abandoning the calendar means we have abandoned the sacred silence. The periods between seasons where the land and the people are meant to rest and critically reflect. Psychological impact. Because we now judge ourselves by Western linear progress, Africans often feel behind. We are forced into a race we did not start, on a track that does not lead to our own liberation. This creates a permanent state of cultural jet lag. The economic shackle, time as a tool of extraction. No one is explaining that the Gregorian calendar was the primary tool used to turn Africans into labor units. The 7-day grind. The concept of the work week was designed to break the irregular seasonal rhythm of African life and replace it with the constant repetitive output required by mines and plantations. Fiscal years and natural years. Our government budgets and cooperates, right? Cycles run on the fiscal year. This forces our economy to dance to the tune of global markets rather than the needs of our local ecosystems. The ensure of identity. By naming our month after Roman emperors, July and August, and Roman gods, January and March, we recite the history of our conquerors. And every time we check the date, we have lost the names of our months that celebrated the blossoming of trees or the migration of birds. In conclusion, reclaiming the African calendar is not about going back to the past. It's about owning our future. It's about realizing that January 1st is just a day, but September is a rebirth. As we look forward an African century, we must ask ourselves, can we truly be free if we're still using the master's clock to measure our days? Sovereignty starts with the soil, but it is maintained by the stars. It is time to stop living in the new year of our oppressors and start living in the new dawn of our ancestors. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Debus Kosana. The name of the platform is Izwi Labansundu, the voice for Africans. Kama Africa.